Hi there, my name is Amy, and I am the founder and CEO of Princess My Party, which I started back in 2014. We are almost a decade old. I live in a really tiny house with my husband and our 2 cats. And in the middle, you'll see my daughter and her husband, Hannah and Anthony. And I have 2 of the cutest grandbabies on the planet. Elijah is the older one, Michael is the little one, and we'll have another one in April. I started playing piano when I was 6 years old in 1st grade, and still play. When I was young and cool, I worked as a vocal coach in a recording studio. I got to perform at some really awesome recording studios like Paisley Park, which is Prince's studio, and I did reference vocals for karaoke CDs and backing vocals for karaoke CDs. I was also a songwriter for BMI, and I ghost wrote a bunch of songs. And I also recorded my own demo of covers, but the record label that I was signed to was sold in the middle of making my demo, so it was never released. Which kind of stinks, but it's okay because I don't think it would be as good as I think it would be. Because I was still young. But I was a classically trained singer who mostly sang pop. And then I became a choir director when I graduated with my bachelor's. I had a cappella choir, I had show choir, regular choir, liturgical choir, middle school choir. I directed middle school band. I taught at the collegiate level, and I produced tons of cabarets. It was super fun job that I really enjoyed. I took a bunch of my students to Memphis, Tennessee to sing at Elvis's House of Graceland. I took a bunch of students to New Orleans where we got to perform in the square, and my students and I even performed on stage with the band Aerosmith. We performed I Wanna Know What Love Is. I also directed a boatload of musicals and plays. This is only a small percentage of the shows that I've directed because some of them were before we had cameras with us all the time. In June of 2014, I started Princess My Party. I had been researching for about a year before I started the company, and we started out with prom dresses and aprons and bad wigs. My goal was to create a side hustle because I was a teacher, so I didn't make very much money. And I was just looking for something to make some extra money. And I also wanted to give high school and college students a way to perform as a working actor in Wisconsin. The company blew up almost immediately. And by the end of 2014, we had a huge cap. We grew so fast that it was absolutely impossible to keep up with all the growth and changes that were going on. And we definitely had some growing pains, but every business does. And as time went on, we just needed to take a pause to redo things since the company had grown so quickly. And COVID allowed us to be able to do that restructuring and take a breath and figure out the best procedures for everything. So in a way, it was a blessing for us. But then, after all of the growing pains were kind of getting to the end, I was diagnosed with cervical cancer, stage 2B, and I also have lupus, which I've had all my life, but the two together made me super sick, and my friend's mom had just died of cervical cancer, and I was in a really tight spot. So in the middle, you'll see my bestie, Tammy, who's also our human resources and public relations person, and she quit her job to step in and take over the company while I went through cancer treatment. She literally saved the company and didn't take enough money or credit. She produced a princess ball. I'm happy to report that I am cervical cancer free, and I also went from 315 pounds to 191 pounds. And it's really hard work. My goal when I was going through treatment was to get to Disney and see Mickey Mouse when I was cancer-free. And on the bottom right, you'll see I cried, and he used his hands to like dry my tears, flap them in front of my face and dry my tears. It was so sweet. It was just like the culmination moment that I had been thinking of since I was diagnosed. So Mickey had a big part of my recovering, and while I was working in the recording studio. After that, I got to train some really awesome singers and work with them when they were recording their album as like an on-site vocal coach, so that I could help them make changes and do the things that you had to do when you're recording a song instead of when you're singing it live, because it's very different. And they were all 16 to 22-year-old boys and girls, and they were pretty comfortable around me. So that leads us to Princess My Party being years old on June 19th, which is also my birthday. When I launched the company, it was 10 years ago. Only 30% of small businesses survive to 10 years. So I'm really proud of myself for that. It's not easy, but I'm glad I stuck it out. I just launched a program to allow my staff and parents to self-promote and get paid. I can give you a code where anytime someone uses your code, you get $5. And if they book a party, you get a % of the deposit. We're also launching the Extra Magic Foundation in 2024 for our 10th birthday, which will be a registered nonprofit 501c3. I filed the paperwork. I'm just waiting for approval. I'm super excited to be able to do this finally. And I want to just say thanks for checking in and listening to a little bit about me and my company. We're also going to update our logo for 10 years, and I am loving it. Have a magical day.